I think that what people need to be thinking about right now is how to build a new, not just new institutions outright like the University of Austin, but build new things within existing universities, within existing institutions. And one knock-on effect to this is that it might create the pathway for a new cohort or generation of scholars who see their scholarship as in the spirit of classical liberal learning rather than in the spirit of political goals. Right now, if you see yourself as a scholar activist, there are a lot of universities around the country who will give you basically a boost for that. You will get favor in the hiring process for saying that my scholarship is really a form of activism, even though that really subverts the basic ideal of liberal learning, where you are pursuing the truth so intensely that you will pursue it regardless of the, necessarily any given outcome. I mean, everyone, when they're in academia, everyone who is involved in academia, it's not like they're indifferent to what the effects of their research or teaching might be. But the ideal of liberal learning is that universities are the only institution that exists explicitly devoted to the rigorous, intense pursuit of truth that we hold as an ideal and a good in and of itself. That's something that if you articulate, and if that's really your driving ideal, it's actually very difficult right now to get a faculty position. I mean, the faculty job market is dismal.
But let me ask you about that. It's okay. So we've all seen the surveys and the polls and that about university faculty. I mean, they're overwhelmingly progressive in attitude. Steven Pinker said that there's only something like 3% of the Harvard faculty that deems themselves conservative. And it might even be declining, especially in the humanities and social sciences and so forth. It seems to me that it's going to take a monumental effort to try to shift that. And my question to you is, do we need viewpoint affirmative action?
Yeah, I have talked to some people in the higher ed reform space who basically think that I should lay off these arguments about viewpoint discrimination, because what we need is not a reassertion that viewpoint discrimination is bad. What we need is the right kind of viewpoint discrimination. And so like some conservatives will say, what we really want to do is actually just hire more conservative professors. And I think that, in pursuing, I think that academia would be a lot healthier if there was a greater balance of political perspectives on campus. But I don't think that the way to achieve that is to hire on the basis of viewpoint. That said, I think it's perfectly legitimate to do what a lot of universities are doing right now, kind of in the opposite direction. A lot of universities are engaged in hiring programs where they say, what we're going to do is hire university faculty members who are engaged in research on topics of social justice and equity. And now that's not quite the same as viewpoint discrimination. Nobody's going to challenge that in court because it's legal to do. You can say that if you have scholarly expertise in these topics, and if this is how you view your scholarship, then that's who we're going to prioritize. I think that is a bad priority, but it is not illegal, and it's not in principle bad. I think it's bad because that's definitely not what a university needs right now. Almost no university needs to have more faculty members who are committed to basically doing scholarship that will land them squarely, far to the left of center. I think you can do something similar to that and say, we recognize as a university, maybe UNC can say this, that we are lacking in people who have more or less this vision, this clear vision for liberal learning that involves a basic commitment to truth, that involves a basic commitment to free expression. You can prioritize hiring in that way. And I think that there are ways to do that do not violate, the law or don't violate the principles of academic freedom that I think are, should not just be seen as a tool for the outsiders to get a wedge into the institution, but they should be treated as, really fundamental to the university's survival. But I do think that has to involve a kind of multi-generational capacity building project that it needs to extend beyond the university. We need more donors to look at promising postdoctoral fellowships. We need more para-academic institutions at universities that help undergraduates kind of navigate acquiring a liberal education in places where that might be actually difficult to do. So like at Columbia and a couple of other Ivy League universities, there are study centers devoted to liberal learning that are not a part of the university, but they kind of fill in the gap a little bit by providing a different perspective. And I think that over time we can create a pipeline. The only way that I think long-term we're going to fix this is create a pipeline of people who are committed to that classical vision of the university and encourage them to go into academia and build institutions where they can go to and do so in a way that doesn't violate those core principles that are important for the flourishing of the university.
Thank you for tuning in to The Contrarian. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to rate our podcast on Apple and Spotify. Stay connected with us on social media for more updates. Until next time, keep challenging.